It's nice to meet all. Here we go.
Hello.
Well,
So,
now go ahead.
just for the audience here that's watching, we've got a special guest, Mr. James Rink and
Hello.
Catherine,
Chess.
who have just come down from DC. They watched the inauguration, and James. No, you're good, man. But they're going to join us today on the podcast, and a lot of exciting things going on. Nick from David Meltzer's group contacted me. He is interested. He's going to jump on, and then we'll work on getting David on. We have our friends from the Zen group out of the UK that I believe will be guests with us tomorrow. So I'm going to send them a link once we get off so they have 24-hour notice. And we're really starting to pick up some momentum. The podcast yesterday with Soleil was absolutely phenomenal. And that'll be posted here later today. And I'm working right now on getting a better processor, more memory, more RAM, and getting my computer upgraded so I can get the video production done a little bit faster.
Sounds great. Sounds great. So I guess at this point, maybe James, you want to go ahead and introduce. And
Sure.
I don't at this point, I haven't. Normally I do a little bit of research, so I'm not coming like from zero, but in the discussions that we've been having the last 8 or so episodes here with Sean, it is about zero. It's about becoming nothing. So it's nice to start just fresh and innocent. So go ahead, James, express yourself. Go ahead.
Hello, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me. So my name is James Rink. I have a channel called Super Soldier Talk. I would prefer you subscribe on Rumble because of all the censorship. My channel discusses about the secret space program, in particular, in super soldiers who served in the secret space program. So I served as a super soldier in a variety of planetary corporations, and my goal is to bring awakening about that. So if you want to learn more about my work, you can go to supersoldiertalk.com. You can go to healingsoulsurvivors.org, my nonprofit. I'm also putting on a conference October 8th to the 12th of this year. So that is Super Soldier Con for conference, right? So .com. You can go there. We've got about 20 speakers. Everybody was in the secret space program. Most of the people there are super soldiers, and I'm going to be here today to share some of the information that has been relayed to me over the years. I do regression work, so I have information related to this particular timeline, like what might be happening in the future. So stay tuned. Thank you.
And Catherine will go next. I'll be right back.
All right, so I'm Catherine Ches. I'm also a board member of James's Soul Survivor, Soul Healing, his nonprofit. And we've been working on this conference coming up together that's going to be in Orlando. So we're working hard on that, and we hope that a lot of people do come to that conference because it's going to be very educational about the secret space program, about the different projects that go on. There are several of them. James and I were part of the Montauk project. We went up to Montauk in 2023, and I did give a little brief talk about that at the last conference that James held. I also have a YouTube channel that I'm growing. I do a little bit of psychic readings per se on it. It's Queen Supreme Divination. Also, my husband, who passed away in 2023, was a super soldier. His call sign was Wolverine. He had a lot of memories of the programs, and unfortunately, I didn't get to the right people in time to help him. But through this process, I found out my own involvement in it, which wasn't too surprising to me because of my family history of being, I had 4 uncles in World War II, one in Black Project specifically, one was a NASA rocket scientist, and they were all engineers, and 2 were retired lieutenant colonels in the Air Force. So, and one turned out to be in the OSS, which is the CIA. So I also found out through a quantum healing hypnosis therapy that James and I in past lives were actually cousins, and also found out I was taken off planet to the Dagobah system for usage in a war that we had out there. So it's a lot of neat stuff that we have to talk about. And I think we'll get more in depth in that at the conference that's coming up in Orlando. And what's the date on that, James?
October 8th to the 12th.
October 8th.
And then we're going to be right across the street from Universal. So we're going to have a fun day across the street if you want to join us for that too. We have food tickets and it's going to be a load of fun. You're going to really enjoy it. So come on out.
Yes, come join us.
Thank you so much for that. And David, we are promoting the Hibernation Festival, which is coming up in February. And that is also now being put on all of our upcoming videos. So you'll see, I believe the one posted yesterday, all the information for that is being posted on the video with your WhatsApp number. And I want to tie this back to 0.00 absolute, because this is a meditation cube that James manufactures. And this is, once again, even once you've been through some of the most intense programs and technologies, it all comes back to 0.00 absolute. And this is the Zen cube, the Zen Master cube, which is all about, going back into that space. So, it's kind of interesting because we have these guests here today, but it all kind of circles back to that 0.00 absolute that we talk about a lot.
You want me to share some more?
Let's let him go for a minute.
Okay. Oh, looks like can't hear you.
I can't hear him.
We lost your audio.
Maybe he muted himself.
I
Does it look like he muted himself? Oh, there he goes.
There we go. There I go.
There we go.
I
I
think
can hear you.
I'm back, correct?
yes.
Okay, great. Anyways, I just, and it's wonderful with the cube and meeting James and yourself and everybody involved with, especially being there in Virginia in the studio is such a privilege. So you apparently have like a regular relationship in the sense that it's already mature, right? You're good friends, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So this, everything's spontaneous. Everything we do is very spontaneous. And, that's what makes it really special. But, for all those people out there watching the podcast, David, I'm getting really good feedback, really good comments. The whole thing is really starting to evolve as we keep, putting out episodes daily, every day, really, except Sunday. And, now people are really starting to, say, look, I've got something that I want to share. I've got a way I can contribute. And so, I can really start to feel the momentum, even with the video production, even with the making the thumbnails and, just all these different things. We're basically like molding clay and really creating a beautiful piece of work that, like you said, as we go, 1.5 billion, that is the goal, is to reach that 1.5 billion people threshold. And we are definitely picking up steam and having a lot of great things happen with us here along the way.
Yeah, there's nothing negative about it. You can't take away from consciousness. No matter how hard we try to de-evolve, evolution is one direction and it's changing all the time forward. And we know that. So great. Thanks, Sean. This is a wonderful opportunity to have other people so that we get to really expand outwardly from that one seed. The point of 0.00 absolute is the one seed, which then germinates all the roots of our who we are as people, person, places, and things, including animals and plants and everything. Conscious awareness of soul and how we express ourselves. And I'm assuming that that's the type of work, James, that you do there with the cube. So I know that that's something that's real special. It looks special. I can feel the energy. And I can see your smile, and I can also see everyone else smiling along with you. So I know that that's going to be really a precious discussion. when I'll let you dive into that in 1 second. I guess this is just from what Sean, I in the brief moments I I take it you are a veteran in that you do know Sandra Rose Michael and the EE system and the work she does with veterans, and I'm assuming the word soldier is an actual, you know, patriot, a person that has in one. It doesn't always have to be an official government representative. Like for me, I'm you know, I describe myself, and I'm not going to get into it a lot here, but like an economic hitman. But I wasn't like a government like MK Ultra or in any of these operations, Gladio, and some of these other things that like David Blomblock. I don't know if you know David. Do you know David Blomblock, the whistleblower that's now in Hong Kong with the FBI and all the intelligence that he has about things like Disclosure Project and extraterrestrial and really assigning unfortunate people like me as being like an enemy of the United States, which is ridiculous, but David talks about how ridiculous it is and how, his life um, was to disconnect people and in some cases have them assassinated. So anyways, I'm not going to go off. We can go off in different channels, but I want to keep this kind of focus for James and your side there, Sean. I'm a listener today. If I can help in any way, obviously, the Hibernation Festival is coming up, like Sean mentioned, here in February on the 21st to March 1st. And that's pre-carnival, the week right when carnival starts to like gear up, and all of the cultural stuff is happening in the city of Sao Paulo, which is a gastronomic city, got everything culturally. It obviously is a growing, it's a developing nation. So, universities and research centers and collaborations with nonprofits and in science and people, inventors like yourself and outreach people is so important. So I'm here. Go ahead. Once again, back to you, Sean. Go ahead.
Awesome. Well, I'd like to have James talk about the cube, the meditation cube, because this is a unique, really a beautiful piece of technology that he's personally built and developed himself. And being that he's here and we've got the technology here, it's a perfect opportunity to talk about this.
Absolutely. Hello, everybody. So I totally forgot to mention I have different products that I've been working on. Now, this one I did have help with Kusal Uch. Now, he was working with a team of people before him. And then what I did is I modified it to be the different formulas that were given to me through some of my clients. They meditate and they would recommend what crystals and how to, anyway. So the inside, okay. So obviously, a cube has 6 sides, and like it is sacred geometry. So a cube is actually a sphere when you spin it around. So on the inside of the cube, there are 6 pyramids. Now I base these on the sacred geometry, based on the ratio of the pyramids at Cheops. So these are little short, squatty pyramids, and inside these, I filled it with orgone material based on the original Wilhelm Reich recommendations. So he wanted different types of waxes, not just beeswax, like like palm waxes and so on. And there's a crystal in each one of these. So this is orgone material. And now, even though it looks like it's plastic, there is copper powder put into the mold. So you'll see like different like sparkly little particulates in there. And then okay, Sean, thank you.
Yep.
So obviously we got 6 pyramids, they all point inward. And then yeah, go ahead and show the sphere. So the sphere, that one has a crystal sphere inside that copper sphere, and I wrap it with different crystals and powders. So so the idea is anything that's pyramid or cone shaped produces chi energy, and all this chi is pushed into the center of the cube where the sphere is, And all that chi energy compresses inside the crystal, and through a piezoelectric field, it will charge these crystals and open up portals. So we can do that ourselves. We don't need a cube to do it. So it is like a permission slip, but this enhances it because you can add more chi energy into your body to help you relax and energize you at the same time. So I had severe PTSD when I was younger, and I'm not going to say I'm cured, but this was able to help me relax to the point where I could at least function on a day-to-day level somewhat. But so ideal, you put this cube on your lap, you don't touch it, you activate it. Device, activate and increase. Device, we trust you completely. Stargate, we trust you completely. Device, activate Stargate mode and automatic mode. So you would sit there, and I like to meditate for 30 minutes, but studies show you need to do a minimum of 11 minutes to get yourself into that alpha theta state of mind. So it's like a daydream like state. And when you're done, you just simply say device in session. So now there's different ways to meditate. You could try clearing your mind. I find that might, for people who are not practicing that might be a little bit difficult. You might be frustrated if you. So it takes a lot of practice to do that. But I typically like to do is just visualize what you want to see in the world, because the proper way to pray is to pray as if it already exists. So thank you, God, for manifesting a 5D Earth where we have teleportation, flying machines, med beds, and an intergalactic civilization where we can travel to the stars. So thank you, God. Thank you for my meditation view. So you can get this at neologicaltech.com. I only have a few left in stock, so get it while you can. And thank you all. And get yourself a book too. I sell my books over there. It's called Lone Wolf. It's 400 pages. I got chock full of information about the secret space program, some of my own experiences, and so on. So thank you all.
Great.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you, James.
Yeah.
David, throwing that back to you, brother.
Well, I guess the real pinnacle point, the moment of truth is coming up here for us. It's a real milestone because it is a first effort, and it's something that just happened like this past week, and we're discussing this festival, which is an 8-day and 7-night. It's a global effort, but it's really meant to locally charge, and really in that 8 days having a positive world impact. What we're terming actually this broadcast is the World Impact News, or WIN, WIN, and it's a 24/7 channel where like your promotion of yourself and your product is wonderful. We need to promote you so that you can promote your product, because if you're like anybody else that I know, really people are looking for that financial boost. In innovation, usually it's an injection of some venture capitalist funds, or it is venture capital funds, but now more and more it's like Bank of America or these major like BlackRock or whatever, that's what the real issue. We don't have to go down that road, but the discussion really is about this festival, and then how it dovetails into what you're doing in Orlando in October. And so it could be a good springboard for us to have you on to at least promote the other people from here, from Latin America, really connecting there in Orlando. I have a pretty long history in Florida, and I tend to try to keep that a little bit personal, in the sense that I don't really just like throw all of this stuff at people, like dump. Some of it's horrible, and some of the times, like in all of our cases, when we really tell the truth, people really pity us. I mean, I'm sure, James, with the development cycle of what you're holding in your hand there, took hundreds of thousands of hours and all the research and everything, the accumulation of your own spiritual growth that really lended to that. Because now, like you said, there may be some disturbances that are still there for you, but at least now you have them in your radar. They're there. You can identify them. You don't have to react to it. You can massage it, and that's where Reiki and these other, channeling and grounding and earthing, and we talk about these natural ways of healing. but it would be great. What we're trying to do is actually here on this island that I'm on right now, and I'm standing in front of an area where the water comes down, and we have a natural water spring. But we had an event about 2 years ago which had mudslides. So on the island, it's only my wife and myself that are here, and the house is right behind me, up kind of up the hill a little bit. But anyways, the water was the system here was pretty much destroyed. So now we need men and women labor, like people that come together to really energize and cleanse this place of. It's not a bad thing that the nature did what it did. It actually it cleared the way. I mean, we've already envisioned doing certain things along the water, and now it's like you don't have a choice. You got to do something. I mean, it's like not safe for people even to go to. And really, the we talked on this show about plasma water, pretty much plasma or anything, that chi state that you're talking about, and the alpha and all of the, neurological state of relaxation and peace and harmony. We talked about on this show about that plasma. And that's what that, this island, it's a pity because the number one resource anywhere is water, because that the plasma, prana, and our oxygen, H2O, photosynthesis, it goes in the water, and then the plants absorb that, and then the microorganisms in the soil. And so the whole cycle is dependent upon a rich place that has a water supply that's virtually uncontaminated, in that. And I say that softly and hardly hard in some seriousness, because climate change is real. 27 years of my experience on this island been well documented. And I've done that not because I'm trying to prove anything to anybody, but it's interesting because just like yourselves, people are interested. They're not going to give you a whole lot of time. And that's why, like this show, we try to keep to 1 hour. So in that 1 hour period, we're not really boring anybody. And also we've talked about having this 24/7 1 hour, like 60-minute segments. So this segment could be your segment about the cube, about that power, the work that you're doing. It is a self-promotion, and we are endorsing and sponsoring what you're saying. I mean, that's the God's honest truth. I mean, we want to work with people that are healing people. We don't need any more games and gimmicks and all this other stuff. I've been called everything, like a charlatan and whatever. I mean, we've all been down that road where we've been isolated and targeted and tried to be humiliated and disconnected. And you know what? I learned, I'm 60 now, and I learned over that experience, like most, I think, people my age, and maybe perhaps you're a little bit younger, and Sean, and 60, I'm not trying to put a benchmark on age. It's just, it does have an influence on our culture and the programming that we received with television and radio and all of the microwave ovens and you know everything. It was just our whole life is so amazing. That's why I believe, I'm not speaking for Sean or you or anybody, James, or anybody there, and any listener, but everyone, you have your own story, and that's the beauty of this program. So these 1 hour segments, people can listen and get a 1 hour credit, a time coin credit. So it's a global network where you parallel with the financial market, and you can actually convert these time credits into into money. But when you do that, there are fees that are associated, because we do have to pay the bank, and that system we know is costly, with brokers, attorneys, and all sorts of bells and whistles. But the time banking program, and this is important for the hibernation festival and the concept of hibernation. It works both ways. We can go to sleep if we know we are, and we're going to wake up. So we're going to reserve our energy. There's nothing wrong. We know the benefit of sleep is so wonderful. And the fact is that, we, for me, it's like Rumpelstiltskin or whatever. Sometimes I slept for almost like 3 years at a point in my life. You know what I'm saying?
Sleep and also fasting. The fasting also helps your body regenerate. So those two things together really will help heal your body. And this cube also, it helps if you have your own I don't like to use the word psychic, but everybody does. But if you have your own spiritual gifts, this enhances that. And the conference that we're going to have, I hope some of your audience may be able to traverse and come over and see us, because there are targeted individuals like you're talking about. And we have, it's also healing to purge and talk about these things. And also people there have gifts. So they're healers as well. So we try to heal others also when we're at these conferences. James and I have been going around now. We were in Washington, D.C. and saw some folks, and we were doing some healing there. We were in Baltimore and saw some folks there, and we were doing some healing there with his cube. And we picked up some information and some a speech that James has to give from Donald Trump that was channeled.
Yeah, I've got some notes to share about that if you want.
So
Great.
we were doing a lot of exciting things the last few days, and now we're here with Sean, and we're going to use some of his technology. And actually, he so graciously offered to use some on me to help heal and recover.
We're gonna help these people. We are gonna make them a lot healthier, happier. And first of all, I love both these people. They're great, great people. And I'm very lucky that I've known James for many years, and I've been able to meet Catherine, and her heart and soul is all in the right place. And one thing that James and Catherine also are working on, Catherine is the chairman of James's nonprofit, and the goal is to set up a healing center to help the veterans, to help the people in the various different programs, the SSP, which you very well know a lot of those programs that, were kind of more covert without going into them all. But their whole premise right now is healing, love, and reaching out to those people right now that are suffering a lot of traumas. And it's interesting because that goes really over to Soleil from yesterday, where she's taken on a whole nother genre of healing that she's really taken on herself, which is a lot of the Mother Earth things, and with a lot of the really bad things going on with other parts of the planet, where they're really funneling the healing through her as sort of a channel. And so James and Catherine here are working with another group of individuals here on the planet to help them with their traumas, their healing. So it's another day of really having special people on the podcast. I'm very blessed and lucky, as always, David, to have you here, brother, but then to also have these special guests with us as well.
Great. Yeah, I just got bounced off for a moment, so I didn't hear everything that you were talking about, but that's what's nice about having these recordings, that we can revert back. But I'm sure it was all wonderful and all leading down the same path. So here we are. We're coming in about a half an hour. So I guess what I would like to do is have everyone be able to take something away from this conversation to really ignite, the possibility and potential that we're talking about here, because it is about that unity, that vector equilibrium point, where you are taking those crystals in the I guess you call it piezo electricity, right? Is that the piezo, where you cut the crystal in a certain way, or ceramic, and it actually generates the electrical field for you. It's amazing. And this is something, James, by the way, I'm not an expert in these areas. I'm not a doctor or a physicist or anything like that. Or, I've never really studied the exact sciences. I studied arts, culinary arts is my background. So I'm a food person, and it took me through a whole journey of development, getting right in relationship with Hollywood and filmmaking and around celebrities and university faculty and other prominent people in society. For what that's worth, it's important. I have a deep respect for all living, any conscious thing that's expressing themselves. So that's what we're hoping to bring with this festival, the Hibernation Festival. It's an interesting combination. David, because
can you tell us where that is?
Yeah, We are on an island. That, yeah, I don't know. Can you hear me? I'm breaking
Yes.
up a little bit.
No, you're good, man. We got you.
Okay. And we are on an island just off the coast of Sao Paulo, which is called Ilha das Coves. Coves in English, it's a Portuguese speaking country, Brazil. So Coves in English is cabbage. So it's really Cabbage Island. But for the sake of branding and also just uniqueness about history and how our history really goes back like 600, 700 years of well documented history with books at the Smithsonian Museum at the highest level of protection. You got to get a special pass just to get in. Usually you got to need to be a reporter for like the National Geographic History Channel or some reason why you're asking for these type of texts. So what's really that's what we're trying to do here. We're really trying to combine like the environment where Sean is in that beautiful studio. It's all beautiful one way or another, but it is the kind, it's like the inverse or converse of what I'm standing in. You know, I'm not quite naked. I'm not trying to be like anything other than just being out in the place that I live. This is what we do here. We don't even wash clothes because we very rarely dirty anything. When you live like with nature, you respect everything, and then your energy field for perfect health, it just is ignited. Now you've activated that natural mechanism. And like you said, James, you mentioned that these are technologies really are not necessary, but they do have a path. And like every religion, for example, you can say certain things that have happened in our history could kind of be like edited and dubbed out, and it would actually help humanity. But that's really not the message. Like I said, opening up this whole episode, it's you can't delete intelligence when it happens, and when you say something it's recorded, and so no matter what, when people think like they're on these private incubators that are trying to have a private gain for themselves, good luck, God bless you, but the reality is that's in separation. You're doing this in like private. We have public sphere and private sphere. There's nothing wrong with both. The beauty is when you go one side or the other, and when it becomes a private issue, you disclose it. That's, I feel private about this right now because it's involving other sensitive people more than really I fear my own comment. I fear the ramifications that this is going to have other effects in my family and community, and in kind of a backlash or like a whiplash. And we talked. This is a. I'm going to end on this. It's because we're trying to wrap this all together and tie a nice bow tie today, so that when, like I said, when we all come at the final closure here, we're taking something away that's actionable. So the whiplash is something that's interesting. I don't know, James, do you know a doctor by the name of Johann Boswinkel? He's an inventor that invented.
Invented
Do you
what?
know?
What did he invent?
He invented the chair, and he's in biontology, which is the study of the original biophotonic light. And so he's in the Netherlands. His name is Dr. Johann Boswinkel, and he has a Charon device that can impulse this biophotonic ocean of love. In essence, is what really it comes down to. It's a pretty simple device. I thought you might know Johann
Yeah,
in the
that's
work that.
something we need to look into. Absolutely. Maybe we can bring him on the show. We can get a hold of him. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would,
Do you have your own public channel and stuff? Do you have like a media and public relations campaign?
yes.
James, let me just, I'll let you go. James has a massive channel. My channel is infantile compared to James. I know he doesn't really even do anything on YouTube anymore, and he's got over 80,000 subscribers. And his channel is going to 100,000, excuse me. But James reaches hundreds of thousands of people.
Millions.
Thank you.
Million. I think they fudge the numbers.
They do, but it's astronomical. It's huge. It's beyond the beyond. So yes, that's so funny, man. I know the numbers better than I do.
Yeah, well, YouTube is heavily censoring me. I get more views on Rumble, even though I have 4 times the subscribers on YouTube. So how does that make any sense? Only 13 people are subscribing every month on YouTube, but on Rumble, whatever.
It's called Super Soldier Talk.
Okay, Super Soldier.
I started doing this in 2010, and I was one of the first people out there. I mean, I wasn't the first, but I created this community to help not only save lives, but to research, gather information so that we can learn what's going on with us, even myself. I mean, I do have a little bit of ego, but mostly to help others. But actually, that's part of the problem. I don't have enough ego, but I'm working on it. I'm trying. So
Keep
go to
going,
Super
keep
Soldier
going.
Talk on Rumble, subscribe, go to Super Soldier Con, put your name in the email list, and buy a ticket if you can, and come on out to Orlando, October 8th to 12th. We'll love to see you there, and buy a meditation cube, and check out Sean's website, whatever that one is.
It's the Super Soldier Activation Conference. So we're hoping to activate other soldiers who are in the programs, people who may be having little bits and fragments of memories. They're not sure what this is. And so they may be in the programs, and we're trying to activate other members who we do know are in the program so that we can come together for our joint purpose that we're doing here on Earth. We're here for some spiritual work. We're here for some very, very important work in helping elevate the actual Earth and the universe and the omniverse. It's all interconnected. We're trying to raise the frequency of the Earth and those in it. So we have to get all of our super soldiers together to be able to produce this very epic
breaking
event. So everybody come to Super Soldier Activation Conference.
Great.
Yeah, David, one thing I just want to just throw back out there, because I don't know if you missed that, but the number one thing also that they're doing right now is healing. And it's healing a lot of the traumas that have gone on with these various programs and people in them. And what I was touching on earlier was that, Soleil is doing that, is also processing and healing and using herself as sort of a channel to process a lot of grief and different things. And, their whole segment is, a lot of these people that have been in a lot of these programs is healing, spiritual upliftment, and all these different things. So, I'd like to tie it all back to that, because on the mission that we're on is to try to do good in the world and obviously make the world a better place, and everybody plays a part. And I'm just really lucky and grateful that they stopped through today, that they could join us on the podcast.
Yeah, we all are. We all are just so wonderfully joyful of receiving this time together. There's so much, and we have about 20 minutes or so left. So. But there are so many connections, because that's the world that James, Catherine, Sean, I, and other people that come together, like minds, are like connected. So, but there are many, many topics that have been coming into my field of like timeline or whatever, like relevant, like how we can start to work together um, to join forces in power. Not just force, but power. We don't want to force things like a revolution or, some anti anything. It's not about that. It's about I don't want to say common sense, but I mean, Donald Trump is mentioning that. Like, that's really what we really need to do, is just come to a common sense. And mentioning the inauguration, I just want to as a prelude to this, what just happened yesterday, no, 2 days ago, right? It was 2 days ago on Monday, the 20th. But that was really a very important, event for many reasons. I won't say, like, my own geopolitical purpose is not like one party or another. It's not really any party. It's quite honestly, it's this I don't want to say utopian idea of the future where we don't have all these stresses about trying to prove that we have some worth or value to our society. so that we can just be authentic from the innocence of being a child and carry that innocence right through and not be fearful that, we're going to be channeling these energies that we talked with, like Soli, for example. Wow, she's like tied in not only with the dragons and the unicorns and all these other ways of like ghosts and things like that, but she's her involvement, from what I'm understanding, because after she's on the show, just like now, James, Catherine, there's an opportunity. You have a chance. You can also learn about me if you want to. You need, and you ask questions. You can be more direct now, like directly to Sean, like, is this guy for real? I mean, you could ask those questions of like, this guy's got to be nuttier than I am, and I know how nutty I am. So I mean, I know there's a fine line that we're walking here, and so, but what's interesting is over time, when you can persevere, that's the entrepreneurial cycle of innovation, and that's where science comes in. It's that repetition in a controlled environment where you don't want to synthetically produce it, but you basically have to kill it, dissect it, reverse engineer it, and then come back out like with this ET intelligence that's about ready to break wide open. And Donald Trump talked about it. And he does have, very close ties with Stephen Greer in the Center for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. And see, these are areas that I do dabble with. So, I'm not trying to, on my side, like write a book or make a movie or do anything like for any of those reasons. I don't really have those. I never really did, but I really don't. I've been around a lot of people that, committed suicide because they just never could gain that worth that they thought they were. And they had beautiful families and kids and everything, and then they go and kill themselves. So the money and stuff like that doesn't, in the fame and notoriety. In fact, we're trying to be, I don't want to say like invisible or we want to be transparent. That doesn't make us invisible. There is, for the people that want to look, they can see. If the people don't want to look, they walk right by you like you don't even exist. And so if you're silent and you just let people go in and out of your life, the ones that actually notice you, like for example, right now having this talk, we're now in the field of our attention. And so now it's in our memories. We know it's in a recorded database. So we can ask Sean, what's the link, when we first met each other back in 2025. This could be like a time capsule that we actually have the ability to travel back through, like a portal. We're talking about like these stargates and things that you've mentioned, alluded to, but also Soli mentioned too. And I don't know, James and Catherine, do you know a channel person called Alcazar? And he's in Mount Shasta for the Stargate Experience, and his name is Pragat Harris. He goes by Alcazar. Have you ever heard of Alcazar?
Do you say he's Lemurian?
Yeah, I think I don't know all of the details, but I make a reference to Alcazar and Pragat because the Stargate is actually a geometric shape. So they know that it's these smaller triangles that are set upon each other in that ratio. And I think even Dan Winter says it's the golden ratio. I'm not, see, this is where I fall apart with some of like, the nuts and bolts. I'm a concept guy. If it makes sense, it looks good, it smells good, and I'm hungry, I'm gonna eat it. It's cleared my test. I'm that type of guy. And so um, a lot of the things that we're talking about here, like extraterrestrial intelligence, will be covered in this hibernation festival as a segment. It doesn't have to be the whole time. What's a nice dovetail if we actually planned and you on your side, it doesn't have to be with Sean directly with this particular format. You can take your own. And that's the idea, is for you to plug in as an offer. If we have a 24/7 schedule, there's 24 1-hour shows. So you could determine, the marketplaces that you're trying to target. So it could be an off the, like early, like 3 o'clock in the morning type of call to Singapore, depending where you are. But, and having a live broadcast so that in the morning, as the news is really coming across from the east to the west, we are already on top of it, like a CNN and all these other broadcasting channels that have all promised stuff. And even now, I don't know, Sean, did you hear about the TikTok? I just heard something about TikTok, and the president wants to, 50% of everything, and Elon can own it. And yeah, did you
It
hear
did.
about that?
Yeah, it disappeared here in the States for like how long?
3 hours.
About 3 hours it was down and then it popped back up again. So I don't really know all the stuff going on behind the scenes. I mean, I'm sure that there's a lot more going on than probably what we really understand. But I do think that the transition of President Trump now, that anything that needs to get cleaned up or redone is going to get cleaned up and redone. And there's a lot happening. There's a lot happening right now in this last 72 hours. Really, David, since we started the podcast in the last week, it is a accelerated pace of things moving forward right now. And I really feel, like the momentum of world unity, world peace, joy, all these things that we've all talked and dreamed about is really starting to move into what I would call the acceleration phase, where it's really starting to gather steam. And, I'm always excited to be part of this podcast with you because, every podcast, every episode, every week that goes by, we're getting more and more people that can contribute to that overall universal mission that we're kind of on, to do good and make the world a better place. So thank you, man, for being an integral part of getting this thing going and reaching out to me on WhatsApp. And I'm looking at these text messages coming in, and it's like, who is this person? I don't even know this person. You're running all this stuff off. I'm like, hey, you know what? Let's just have a phone call. Let's just have a phone call. And then from the phone call came the podcast, which let's just get this on a podcast. And now here we are on episode 9 or 10. We've got James and Catherine with us, and we've had Soleil on, and we've had James from the Gaia Foundation up in the UK, which is an amazing humanitarian project. And now, other people are jumping in to share and become part of this. And that's the beautiful thing, is that everybody is a part of it.
So on your
Everyone
altar,
has.
do you
Yeah,
have
go
any, do you have any healing plants or any kind of foliage that you have there, or herbs or anything of that nature that are indigenous to that particular island that you're on, Cabbage Island?
It's a very interesting question, and we are actually right now in a point in our history where we really need to be scientifically documenting like everything that is really like here, because we've done it. We did a test, we did trapping in different animals like bats and the rats or mice population and vermin, basically, that we could trap and do blood tests and things. But so when it comes to actual plants and having like a botanical, like not one garden of Eden, like gardens of Eden, when you come here, the place is uninhabited, really. We have a small house where my wife, my Brazilian wife, and I reside, and we are the caretakers. But the real design for the future is that there are no owners when you come here. So even our kind of ownership is the concession, which is a legal document that has a whole history, which makes a very interesting like documentary film, for what it takes to, kind of persevere. It doesn't have to be like, to settle and make an island a home type of story. Everyone perseveres in their own journey, and that's what we're trying to do. So we do have ceremonies, which are plant medicine ceremonies with ayahuasca, which is a root which we can very easily grow anything here through hydroponics, aquaponics, and other type of scientific growing out of the ground. We don't need to really fortify, but the soil here is of old volcanoes, so it's rich in some perhaps elements that you probably don't want to be consuming a whole lot of, these heavier metals that that just our body doesn't know how to identify with. So it's tough to get rid of them when it's in the system. So so the plants and it's interesting. I won't carry on too much, but just related to entertainment. and the idea of the connectivity bridge between, arts and culture and actual science and mathematics and stuff that typically people that feel like, oh my God, this group of people just like aliens, they're talking about all this stuff and I can't identify. But we're not doing that here, and that's really not the point. Although there's quite a bit of interesting science that comes behind, like the cube that you're holding there, I'm sure, for no doubt about it. But the reality is, if it is about the unity of us coming together, let's just go there. And then from there, then we can ease into some of the more complex and the real intriguing things that you've gone through, in your journey, the hero's journey that we're all on. So that's where, we're running maybe another 10 minutes or so, but that's up to you. I'm more than happy to stay on and answer any questions or just be here as a sounding board. Let me end. And there's one interesting thing. I don't know if you've been following or were involved at all with Bobby Kennedy and his, I don't know if you, I don't want to like pinpoint a, political position, but if you were at the inauguration, I'm sure that it was a good thing for you. That I don't know if you're Republican or independent, nor does it really matter.
You had to show up in line around 3 o'clock in the morning, and it was what like 10 degrees outside
Right.
Fahrenheit. For those of you who don't follow that. Okay, so we decided to just go to a bar, but yeah, why don't you tell us the story? What happened with Bobby
Well,
Kennedy?
when the transition happened in the real momentum in the campaign for Trump after the assassination, and then Kennedy basically changes his strategy and wants to come in as a director. Right now, we know human services, I guess, or human health, or I don't know which department. I'm sorry. Like I said, it's not important. What's important is for the conversation when we're talking about plants and gardens. There's something that John F. Kennedy and during since World War II actually were these gardens called victory gardens. And so the idea was to go around the world and plant these. I don't want to say that they're like shrines. They don't need to be like any more than the natural environment already is. It's just providing an access and a channel where people can go to these places that tend to be more remote is really the task. How do you get people to be able to experience these wonders that when you're here, you don't have to be an astronaut, but when you go in out of orbit, and I'm sure I haven't been there yet, but I'm looking forward to the day because it's very safe now. We have this technology to go out of orbit. And then looking back at Earth, that would be like an, oh my God moment. It'd be like, oh, and then you come zip back down into this present moment. You don't need any more than that. That's the wow. It's like, the miracle, the wonder. And so that's really, we are here. We can integrate, we can help with the promotion. If there are books and other things that are connected, James, with the work you and Catherine and your organization, the whole group of wonderful people that I'm sure that are gathered with your circuit and tribe, and knowing Sean obviously it's already like a VIP referral, I guess, or I mean, it's always a win-win anyways, but it helps. It helps to know that we are connected and that we can get right to the point and creating these opportunities so that help you and your work, the great work you're doing, and everybody in general, like Sean
listener as well.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And the veterans, veterans are very special. I actually was involved with the NFL alumni and retirement association, which might sound like a glamorous organization, but just like, the Hard Rock Hall of Fame or any of these organizations really are meant to protect like celebrities and superstars. At the end of life, there's no mercy. If like you're, Elton John and then you're dying on the streets of Philadelphia or something, I mean, there's not a lot of pity at that point is what I'm saying. So, that's anyways, we're here. We're trying to do what we can, our best, which is the optimal, which is apply intelligence. So, and I'm sure that we're going to learn a lot more together. Feel free to contact me through Sean. Let's do another doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have to be like this hour. You can, and if you already have a program channel, like Sean was saying, that you're already kind of more advanced, then maybe I don't know if we can talk about that, but if there's a need for it to, I don't want to say funnel. If there's I don't know if it's necessary with blockchain and stuff like that, how it all works, but maybe you know better, how we could actually integrate and maybe just become part of your channel. The goal is 24 hours with 1 hour windows. And so, but that it could have multiple channels, obviously, but the World Impact News WIN would be the 24-hour real-time network, straight talk and facts and math and STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematic uh, proofs if we have it. And if we don't, let's identify and then try to get it, because that's what we need. Okay. So I'll be quiet here as you wrap it up, Sean and James.
Yeah.
I don't know if
So,
you want to just.
Yeah. So David, what I'll do, which is what I love to do as we come to the end of each podcast, is to give each person a final word or final say in what they'd like to wrap up, or final words that they'd like to do. I'll start with Catherine, go to James, and then we'll let you end the podcast. But, once again, thank you, man, for everything you're doing. The World Hibernation, the Hibernation Festival coming up 21st to the 1st. All your information's on there. You can also contact me, be a part of this. And with that being said, Catherine, last words for today's podcast. What would you like to say?
Let's see. Well, I'm hoping for the world unity. I'm very positive about us just going to the inauguration. And I would again like to see a lot of people come to our conference that we're having in Orlando, so that we can join more people into having a consciousness expansion and a frequency upliftment of the earth. You can come watch me on my channel again, which is Queen Supreme Divination, on James's channel, which is Super Soldier Talk. And he's going to be discussing the conference more on there. And I'll also put it on my channel a little bit. And, we're really looking forward to getting a broader audience and getting more people involved in our mission.
Great.
Okay, so over the years, I've had people come on my show, give out negative predictions where everything's gonna, you can imagine. So my experience is every time somebody makes these negative predictions, they don't come true. And I believe that we're in a splitting of this earth where those of us who have a higher consciousness are going to a more positive timeline, and those who are negative consciousness are going to go to the timeline where there's a nuclear war and a pole shift. So if you, by raising your consciousness, we can bring everybody else with us. So there's like two split earths coexisting together at the same, but you don't notice the other one, because by raising your own consciousness, you can create reality that you want to be in. So everybody just stay positive. Buy a ticket to my conference, supersoldiercon.com, and go to Neological Tech, get yourself a meditation cube, a book, and subscribe to my channel at Super Soldier Talk on Rumble, preferably. And we will all see you later. Thank you all.
And David, I'm just going to jump in and then I'm going to let you finish. But thank you so much for joining us today on the podcast. Really blessed to have you as guest. And James, if it's possible, maybe we can put a little blurb and help promote the Hibernation Festival too, if you get a chance. And
Yes.
Catherine, on your channel as well.
Details.
And thank you for
Absolutely.
putting that. And David, with that being said, finish up this episode and give us your final last words and final thoughts.
We are ready, willing, and able. We are soldiers in many ways. We all are. And it's not a battle in that using the word as a soldier. It's just honorable, and righteous. And it's not a man soldier or a woman. It's us together in unity. So that's the whole message. It's been wonderful sharing this 1 hour together. There's going to be many more, episode 24 in a day. So you start looking even just at this as this 1 week for the Hibernation Festival, 8 days. 24 hours, you multiply, it's a lot of content. And so when we actually go through the process, we're going to make a movie as a result of this first annual event. And that movie will just be just a magnet, like a Sundance festival, but not just focused on one area or genre like film or music. Or it's actually an all-inclusive network, and it's not just here in this one location. It's along the 15 beaches in front of us. So it's called the Blue Grapevine. It's going to be an entertainment, like business to business exchange. People are going to be like all open in their house, even more so than they do already with Airbnb and things like that. Many of the people here, they survive like on this tourism. That's, I don't want to say black market, but it is identified. You're making electronic payment with a credit card or whatever. They know who you are, and then, if there's other local ways and you're using cash, obviously it's a different reporting that we use. But so that's where we're at in making that connection with our 15 beaches. We have access to 50,000 people in arm's distance. So that's where working with Sean and having the island here as like an epicenter, call it or like an expo center, conference center, but really not meant to have people traffic here. If you come here on a boat, it's typically pretty expensive, especially for Brazilian standards. So it's really considered pretty luxurious. And so you can imagine like the type of venue we're going to have here with live music presentations and educational workshops and hand-on and, guest speakers and some film, that we're going to blend in and basically have really a dynamic exchange. Like Jerry Lewis, I don't know, people like if you remember Jerry Lewis and the telethon for MS that he did with Dean Martin. And I mention this because I envision this Hibernation Festival being an annual event that attracts AI, quantum, and everyone to this valley along the Mata Atlantica rainforest. And, it's very visible. We have a lot of documents and podcasts, the Power of Islands podcast, and hundreds of hours worth of content and interviews with people like James and Catherine and now Sean and all of these. The whole network is really germinating or giving birth. It's what I'd say. It's birth time, and really that's what it is. And so it's wonderful having this exchange. Thank you very much. Go ahead, wrap it up, Sean. Tomorrow's a new day, a new adventure. Thank you, David the Indian.
As always, everybody, thanks for watching. Share your comments down below. We'd love to hear back. James, go ahead.
Namaste.
Namaste. There we go. Catherine, give us a little wave goodbye.
Namaste.
All right, everybody, take care. Same time, same place tomorrow. Thanks for watching.